70 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine were administered at Austin city limits just last weekend. That was announced at today's Travis County Commissioners meeting. And now, of course, we're looking ahead to the next weekend. KXAN morning anchor Sally Hernandez sat down with Austin Mayor Steve Adler about what worked at the festival and his message to the community on getting your flu shot.
Mayor, let's talk about the first weekend of ACL. Your thoughts on how that first weekend went?
I think it went well. I think people had a really good time. From a COVID perspective, I thought that it was good that on the first day, 86% of the people that were admitted demonstrated that they had a vaccination. About 1,000 people were turned away because they had neither the vaccination nor the test. The numbers are coming down. In the city generally. This is probably something that's going to be with us for a while as we try and get more and more people vaccinated.
Let me ask you a little bit about the vaccination status, the checkpoints at ACL for the first weekend. Did that go well? Were people showing their IDs, making sure it matched their vaccination status? How do we know everybody who was checked went through those safety protocols?
You don't know that, and it's not going to be a perfect system, but you take that into account when you're deciding whether or not to open up an event like this, because you know there are going to be limitations with both checking. There can be limitations with respect to how many people mask. Answer is, in reality, very few. So you take those things into account when you're setting up a system, and you make your risks assessment based on what you anticipate. What happened is what we generally anticipated. Those precautions are better than having no precautions. Having the on-site work so that we don't have the EMS cost works. There were people who got vaccinated in order to be able to attend. We know that because there were some people that were getting vaccinated there in order to be able to attend. So at the end of the day, you're being realistic. You're not creating unrealistic expectations for how thorough or how complete anything will be done. But you're trying to balance both the risks as well as the need for the city to be able to move forward. One of the big risks we face right now is flu. 2 years ago, our ICUs filled up just with flu patients. We need to make sure that doesn't happen. So I would urge everyone to make sure that they get their flu shot.
So when you look at those guidelines, you don't just look at COVID-19, you also maybe look at the spread of flu?
You're looking at everything. You're looking at you're looking at everything that presents a risk to the city, and a lot of those risk guidelines were set with an eye to keeping our ICUs from being overrun. And we know as we come into the flu season, that's a risk. So it's important for our community to help.
That was Sally Hernandez reporting. Austin Travis County EMS says they received 260 calls for service at Zilker Park during ACL, but the medical tent on site handled most of those patients. Only 6 were taken to the hospital.